Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Shazana Mutimwasalri, and my group mate is Nur Zawani binti Zakaria, Nur Munira binti Nurizan, and Nur Idiana binti Shamsul Azhar. Our topic for seminar 2 is challenges in capital expenditure decision. I will explaining on the first aspect on the challenges in the capital expenditure decision, which is qualitative consideration. Before that, I would like to explain to you guys what is capital expenditure and what is capital expenditure decision. Capital expenditure is an expenditure that results in the acquisition or construction of fixed asset or enhancement of an existing fixed asset. What is construction of fixed asset? The example is land, building, vehicle, or equipment. Meanwhile, capital expenditure decision is a long-term decision that requires the evaluation of cash inflow and outflow over several years to determine the acceptability of the project. There are 3 objectives. The first one is increasing output, secondly, cost reduction, and lastly, providing contemporary goods. For the first point, or objective, increasing output, we can utilize the existing facility or through expansion. For the second objective, which is cost reduction, we are able to avoid any over or under cost if we did an investment in the fixed asset. For the last objective, providing contemporary goods, we are able to satisfy the new demands from customers. Next, it is the purpose. What is the purpose? There are 3 purposes. The first one is to ascertain the long-term investment of the firm. Secondly, to recognize and prioritize capital investment on the basis of maximum return to the business. And lastly, consider as managerial tool required for efficient management of collected capital of the firm. There are 4 challenges in the capital expenditure decision. The first one is a qualitative consideration. Secondly, technology advancement. Thirdly, synergistic effect. And lastly, environment. Next, I will proceed to the 7 factors that are for the qualitative consideration, which is company culture, political factor, quality of product and services, strategic factor, social trend, and lastly, ethical consideration. For the first point, which is ethical consideration, it can be evaluated at individual or social level. Relevant stakeholders are the firm shareholder, customer, employee, and the community that the firm surrounds it in. For example of ethical consideration of protecting the shareholder interests, customer health, local employment, employee safety. For the first point, for the first example, which is protecting shareholder interests, the management need to know the one chosen will be beneficial to the growth of the firm in the long run. For the second example, which is customer health, the company must not hazardous to customer, which means that if the company know that the product is will affect the customer health, the company need to stop the production of the product and eliminate the product immediately. For the third example is local employment, restructuring to use machine with reduced employees, which means that the company tend to use the machine compared to hire more employees. Lastly, employee safety. In using the dangerous chemical, must considering safeguard by using safety gear and mask. Next, it is the second factor is quality of product and services, which means that a capital investment can be appraised in terms of the perceived value it can contribute to the firm's existing or future product or services. There are two examples that I will give. The first one is purchasing the cheapest vehicle for on-site technician, and the secondly, purchasing low-quality kitchen equipment in a restaurant. For the first example, which is purchase cheapest vehicle for on-site technical, it may lead to services interruption due to vehicle breakdown. For the second example, it can diminish the consistency of preparing the food. For the third factor, it is environmental concern. What is environmental concern? It is high concern in protecting the company's allocated part of their expenditure in their budgets in response to their concern. For example, in this concern, it is a good steward toward environment, good reputation and increased customer awareness, and lastly, able to retain. For the good steward towards environment, companies who have win awards or receive recognition for environmental stewardship will have good reputation and increased customer awareness. For the secondly, good reputation and increased customer awareness, consumer and shareholder are attracted to support the sustainable existence of the companies in the industry who have good steward towards the environment. But lastly, able to retain existing customer, attract new customer, expand their market globally. Next, for the fourth factor, it is company culture. Companies sometimes spend money on capital improvement because they want to create a better work performance for their employee. An example of company culture, it can be that the company spend on capital improvement to create better work environment for their employee. For example, the company may build some section for gym, pantries, canteen, some musalla or others, so it will create or improve a better work environment for the employees. The quality of the office environment is important to portray the image of the customer. Thirdly, providing new office furniture can boost employees' morale and result in greater productivity. And lastly, if the office equipment looks shabby or outdated, customers will turn around. For the fifth factor, it is social trend. It follows by majority of society that have the same interest and enjoy certain benefit in a way as time passes by and the interests of the majority of society also change. For example, if a consumer current social trend is care about environment, then the management is advised to manufacture green product over coming years. As you know that there are some products that have that green symbol, which means it is concern on the environment. For the sixth factor, it is political factor. It is affect capital expenditure decision by deciding how the business should run through enforcing government policy. The political decision made can affect business organization in many ways and could add risk factor and lead to major loss. For example, the increasing or decrease in tax is affected by political decision. In this case, where the government might change or might increase taxes for some company and lower it for others, Thus, decision will have direct effect on how business will operate after a political decision is made. For the last factor, it is strategic factor. Strategic factor is when a capital expenditure may be made that does not fit into the company's current goals at all. A retailer might purchase a tract of land in years in advance of any plans to build a location of the property. They take this step to prevent competitors from acquiring the property, knowing that the traffic in the area is growing and someday it will be the ideal location for a new store. The immediate payback for the expenditure is not allowing the competitors to secure an advantageous location that could boost its revenue and market share. In conclusion, I believe that qualitative consideration is impact the decision-making process. Qualitative consideration will influence capital expenditure decision process in the organization. This include the aim and objective of the firm, current and expected state of the economy, possible impact on the image and reputation of the firm. However, qualitative factor cannot be measured as a number, as they represent either a negative or positive forces affecting the company, but some of the quality factor will give an effective way in determining the good capital expenditure decision. For example, if the company open a new office branch in another city, by doing that it may change the way of communication and information flow between the team and reporting relation. It will give positive and negative effect to the company morale. That's it from me. Thank you. I will pass to Nur Munira.
Thank you, Shazana. Next, we will proceed to the challenges in capital expenditure decision, which is in technological advancement. As we have discussed before, the capital expenditure decision is the process of making decisions regarding long-term investment in fixed assets, which are not meant for sale, such as land, building, plant and machinery, and etc. So, we have found a journal that are discussing about why is the productivity growth is slowing. The journal that we found are by Chad Severson, which is the factors that causing the slowdown of the technology. One of the factors is that maybe technology isn't moving as fast as we think. If robots were really taking over our jobs, you should see output per worker go way up, and we have fewer workers. We have fewer workers because robots would be making everything we were making before, but that is not happening. And what's going on is we don't measure output very well. So the new products or services aren't being captured in the way we measure output. So productivity growth looks smaller than it really is. So next is definition of technological advancement. Technological advancement is the generation of information on discovering new knowledge that advance the understanding of technology. The advance of technology has changed most of our life in how we learn, how we travel, and how we communicate. While in business, technological advancement help organizations to save time, save costs, and produce good quality of product. Next, we will discuss on the types of technological advancement. One of the types of technological advancement are robotics. Robotics is the combination of engineering and science, and it is used to develop machines that can substitute for humans and replicate human actions. And it can speed up process, create high quality of product, and can minimize their labor costs. and it is one of the artificial intelligence. So, the industries that use robotics are healthcare, which is UiTM Private Specialist Center, and food and beverages, which is Nam Hyong Ipoh Restaurant. Then the second type of technological advancement are hologram. So hologram is a 3D photographic technique that projects an image on the other side and is visible without the need for 3D glasses. Hologram is an interaction with image more naturally intangible. And industries that use the hologram are transportation and logistics industry, which is postlightly found on a hologram topic by Emilia Petrarca. So on this journal, Hatsune Miku is a visual character created by Krypton Future Media. Originally, she was sold as the face of computer software that allowed users to generate their own music. And since Miku's creation, over 170,000 sounds has been created for her, garnering a grand total of over 100 million hits on YouTube. And she embarked on a 10-city tour with a live band to showcase the most shared singles, which is almost all the shows were sold out. So the over 170,000 sounds has been created for her, garnering a grand total of over 100 million hits on YouTube. And she embarked on a 10-city tour with a live band to showcase the most shared singles, which is almost all the shows were sold out. So the third types of technological advancement are Internet of Things. The journal that we found in Internet of Things by Sophia Morange is on agriculture evolution with Internet of Things. Internet of Things has allowed agriculture to make a huge step ahead. So for the Internet of Things, which is the smart greenhouses are environments that are usually controlled manually. However, modern technologies allow you to trust this to a software. Sensors measure the climate inside the greenhouse and can adjust it according to the requirements of the growing plants. The second one is crop monitoring. Drones are used to monitor crop growth and analyze soil and spray plants. Observation of large area helps you discover any crop diseases in their early stages and effectively fight them. Last one is the livestock monitoring. Internet of Things devices help track the location and well-being of cattle. The next one is advantages and disadvantages of technological advancement. Advantages and disadvantages has 5. The next one is advantages and disadvantages of technological advancement. There are 5 advantages and 5 disadvantages of technological advancement. The advantages of technological advancement are improved communications, encourage innovation and creativity, improve on human resource management, save times, and creates mobility. While for the disadvantages of technological advancement are causes distraction at work, high maintenance costs, and demotivate employees, affect workplace relationship, and lastly tend to be risky. The first advantages of technological advancement are improved communications. Virtual communication tools like Skype can be used to share screen, and this can help workers to share projects while in different. The fourth advantages of technological advancement are save times. The use of computers to accomplish specific tasks at work creates room of making correction on instant, and it also reduces on human errors. And lastly, it creates mobility. Employees can work from anywhere at any time. This mobility makes employees stay in control of their jobs. The disadvantages of technological advancement are causes distraction at work. The use of social networks at work can cause so much distraction and it affects the productivity of the employees. The second one is high maintenance costs. If business technology tools like computers are not well maintained, their performance will decrease. And the third one, demotivate employees. Since most tasks are automated by technology, many employees become demotivated at work. Technology will kill their creativity and skills. The fourth one is tend to be risky. It also tends to be risky, especially when it comes to data security. And lastly, it affects workplace relationships. Employees become more reserved and self-centered. They get buried into their work, which can be of great harm to a business. Since most tasks are automated by technology, many employees become demotivated at work. Technology will kill their creativity and skills. The fourth one is tend to be risky. It also tends to be risky, especially when it comes to data security. And lastly, it affects workplace relationships. Employees become more reserved and self-centered. They get buried into their work, which can be of great harm to a business. The challenges in technological advancement. There are 4 challenges in technological advancement, which are open source software, mobile payments, big data, and data security. The first one is open source software. If the open source software is not handled properly, the use of open source software can compromise ownership of company software and jeopardize acquisitions and other significant business transactions. The second one is mobile payments. The second one is mobile payments. Liability issues remain to be worked out for many transactions. It misdirected payments, unauthorized access, and account balance mistakes, among others, that may be. In conclusion, for technological advancement, technology play a vital role in decision making regarding capital expenditure. As we know, technology evolves very rapidly as technology nowadays are very active in making the world a better place for everyone. Therefore, business owners must always think wisely and take into consideration the challenges faced, as we usually cannot deny the importance of technological advancement in capital expenditure decision.
Thank you, Munira. Now let's proceed to the next challenges in capital expenditure decision, which is synergistic effect. The synergistic effect is defined as an effect arise between two or more agents, entities, factors, or substances that produce greater effects. The objective is to increase the effectiveness by sharing perception and experience, insight, and knowledge. The benefit of synergistic effect is to provide improved capacity utilization, to make better use of existing sales force, to reduce managerial staff, and to gain economy of scale. There are 3 types of synergies. The first one is revenue synergy, the second one is cost synergy, and the third one is financial synergy. For revenue synergy, as a result of an acquisition, it is able to generate more sales than the two companies would be able to separately. When a major consolidator acquires a smaller competitor, the consolidator often is able to leverage existing client relations to drive more sales into the new location than the standalone operator was able to on its own. Revenue synergies can create very attractive economics for both buyer and seller. A savvy seller can command a substantial premium when the revenue synergy that the selling company provides is unique to the buyer. Conversely, a savvy buyer can often easily justify paying a substantial premium, confident that the increase in revenues post-close will offset the additional consideration provided to the seller. The key revenue synergies may include access to patents or other intellectual property and having complementary products, customers, or geographical locations. Next, the cost synergy. To the opportunity as a result of an acquisition for the combined company to reduce costs more than the two companies would be able to do individually. When a larger group is able to negotiate lower prices or improve payment terms with vendors, such as paint companies, because they buy more products and services. It also able to eliminate significant costs associated with delivery trucks, fuel, insurance, and delivery drivers. Moreover, it also able combine warehouses and eliminate redundant storage expenses. Redundant management overhead was eliminated as well, further reducing expenses. As a result, overall cost of doing business dropped while its sales increased. This is often referred to as developing economies of scale. The third one is financial synergy. In some cases, combining companies can result in financial advantages that the standalone companies would be otherwise unable to achieve individually. For example, smaller companies generally have to pay a premium when borrowing money relative to larger companies. However, two mid-sized companies can merge and lower their combined cost of capital more than they could individually. There may also be unique tax benefits and possibly an increased debt capacity as a result of merging that would otherwise be unavailable. Next, let's move on to the impact of synergistic effect. How it can have both positive and negative impact in capital expenditure. The first positive impact is it opens up new market for both of the company. Next, a variety of products can be produced and add value to the business because it can reduce the duplication of the product. It also applies cost-effective method because it allows business to come together so their need can be met by another in a more affordable manner. And the last one is it increases the efficiency and effectiveness of the business. For negative impacts, it could cause employee distress. There is a chance of a layoff could occur when two companies is merged. Secondly, it increase of debt. When two companies is merged, it increase the balance sheet of the combined company. Next, for corporate culture, a consolidating office cultures can be more difficult as they are from two different management and backgrounds. And lastly, majority decision. It takes a lot of time to require most of the people from both sides to be on the same page. Let's move on to the challenges of synergistic effect. The first one is the lack of good motive. Each deal must have good motive of why they want to merge their company. Manipulation of the contract might occur since one of them is trying to take an advantage in the contract. The second one is target wrong company. The company that wants to merge must choose the right company with the same objective. Many companies are going through the synergy to expand their business, but some of them did not complement each other. The third one is mismatched decision. As the result of different management and different culture, it is hard for the companies to make a decision. And the last one is neglect your own company. Some of the companies fail to prioritize their own company after they merge with other companies. The merger might look good in paper, but practically they may not generate any value after the closure of the deal. So, the difference between synergistic effect and environmental effects is synergistic effect include a cash flow calculation. It also have positive and negative impact, and it also include opportunity cost principle. While for environmental effects, it shows the negative effect of product manufacturing, and it also concerned about environmental effect ground, And there are 4 steps in capital budgeting and present considerations. There are real cases regarding successful mergers and also unsuccessful mergers. One of the successful mergers is Walt Disney with Pixar. The acquisition of Disney with Pixar is an example of vertical merger. On 5th May 2006, the two esteemed companies Disney and Pixar merged. Disney acquired shares worth $7.4 billion in Pixar and made it Disney's subsidiary. Since then, it has been reported as one of the most successful mergers of times. The key reasons for the success of the merger of the two companies was that investors saw potential for Disney to leverage on Pixar's computer-animated character to be used in its vast network. One successful example was Cars. The revenue in retail products from Cars was over $5 million. Pixar's willingness to change so as to be a part of the international conglomerate helped Pixar not only develop new movies but also sequels of original ones. Executives also changed their minds of alternative production channels, which is direct-to-DVD was accepted as a part of Disney-Pixar portfolio. The experience of Bob Iger in the field of merger helped the two companies greatly. The companies not only followed normal tactics for successful mergers, but also came with some different ones. Pixar created a list of things that would not be changed so as to preserve its culture, like Pixar employees did not sign employment contracts as it believed. We have never had to go back and look at it. Everything they have said they would do, they have lived up to. Bob Iger ensured that Pixar employees get mixed in the new environment. He gave Pixar employees new responsibilities and tasks to increase the efficiency of Disney. Finally, the transformational leadership at Pixar was brought to Disney. Their ability to lead and motivate employees in a way that they easily adapt to the dynamic environment was legend, and Disney adapted it. For unsuccessful mergers, on 7 May 1998, Daimler-Benz, which is makers of the luxury auto car Mercedes-Benz, announced a $36 million merger with the Chrysler Corporation. The purchase of Chrysler by Benz marked the biggest acquisition by a foreign buyer of any US company in history. The merger was marketed to investors as an equal pairing. It soon emerged that Benz would be the dominant partner, with Benz holding the majority of the new company's shares. The merger was supposed to be a win-win for both parties. The move was supposed to raise Benz's market share in the US auto market. Chrysler was supposed to improve its vehicles with exposure to Benz car expertise and also lower its costs. The fail of mergers between Mercedes-Benz and Chrysler is because of cultural difference, lack of cooperation, and lack of market focus. For cultural differences, there was no synergy between the two companies. They disagreed on marketing, sales, techniques, and never saw eye to eye on how to build teams. That Benz had no strategy on how to develop and grow Chrysler after it acquired it. As for the lack of cooperation, the original plan was for Chrysler to use Benz parts, components, and vehicle architecture to reduce Chrysler's cost to produce future vehicles. Benz was unwilling to contribute to Chrysler in numerous ways. In the end, all Chrysler got were some steering and suspension components, a transmission, and a diesel engine. And the last one, lack of market focus. Benz never did due diligence before it bought Chrysler. It never looked into the future to see if Chrysler could be competitive with others in its market. Next, I will pass the next presentation to Nurdiana.
Thank you, Zawani. Now we will proceed to the challenges in capital expenditure decision on environmental effects. For the capital expenditure decisions definition, it has been mentioned before by the presenters. Yes, it is a crucial task for the finance manager to select the most profitable investment decision for the company. There are many factors to be considered in making the right decisions, which are expected return, availability of funds, and government regulations. For the expected return may be uniform or fluctuating. Even though the company expects guaranteed of the expected return in total, which will affect the selections of the project. Next is the availability of funds. All of the projects are not requiring the same level of investment. Some projects might only require a small amount of investment, while some projects might incur a huge amount of investment. If the company does not have adequate funds, the projects need to be given up. Lastly is the government regulations. The management need to consider the government regulations. In many industries, there are a number of legal provisions provided to protect environmental pollution. Thus, it is important for the management to comply with the regulations rather than costs and profits. Now, I will be explaining about the environmental effects. It is a documented evaluation of the adverse and beneficial significance of the direct and indirect effects of a firm's current or planned activities. It is important to consider the qualitative impacts that have to be considered by a management in making the right decision. The consideration must focus on the impacts of the capital investment towards the environment. To conclude, managers must not only use financial tools to evaluate and plan the capital investment strategies, but must also consider the environmental impacts of the project decision. There are two effects on the environment, which are favorable and unfavorable. For the favorable, it is when the decision on the investment of an asset will bring goods toward the environment. It will make the environment become a better place to live. As an example, the equipment installed by a company may reduce the consumption of power energy. For the unfavorable, it is the opposite of the favorable effects, which it could give harm to the environment. As an example, the factory buildings construction may create a pollution such as air pollution and water pollution. These are the harmful effects toward the environment. We are familiar with these effects of global warming, water pollution, deforestation, waste disposal, and air pollution. These effects could give harm to the environment and also the society. Imagine that you are the manager of Menara company and you need to make a decision to buy a new excavator to be used in the business operation. You are given two options, which are excavator A and excavator B. Both excavators have different price and characteristics. For A, it only costs you 500,000 ringgit, but it has loud noise and with smoke emission. But for B, the price is higher, which is 750,000 ringgit, but it has less noise and less smoke emission. So, if you are the manager, which excavator will you choose? Yes, it's B. Even though the price is higher, but in order to protect the environment and prevent pollution, the management will have to invest on excavator B, even though it is more expensive. There are many benefits of the decisions. The first one is it helps to reduce air pollution emitted through smoke. Since excavator B has less smoke emission, thus the environment effect may be reduced. Next, it helps to overcome the complaints by people. The people surrounding will be less satisfied with the construction. Thus, it could reduce the litigation action to be taken to the company. It could also reduce the noise pollution. It is stated that excavator B has less noise Thus, the construction made won't be as loud as the usual construction. Lastly, it helps in improving water quality. The wasted made during the construction could be reduced, and the possibility to throw the waste in the water is lower. Now, I will share with you about the Panasonic company. The company needs to acquire a new fixed asset, which is a building. It is for their business production and operation, but it has many effects to the environment and business. For the effect to business, the first effect is the building might be cracked. Next, the environment surrounding and surface of the building may stress out the employee due to the heat and lead to low production. When the employee is stressed out, the job won't be efficient as before. Next, it is poorly organized, the cubicle filled office, and it affects the environment too, which is the uses of precious natural resources responsible for a significant proportion of a carbon emission, high water use over the industry standards, including high flow plumbing fixtures, and the surface of building made from cement that contain chemical and may lead to soil contamination when rainy. Thus, Panasonic take an initiative to protect. So the Panasonic Corporation take an initiative to protect the environment and reduce pollution. So the Panasonic Corporation moved into a glassy, eco-friendly headquarters in Newark, New Jersey. And they upgrade their company to an open floor plan in a 12-story building that's on its way to LEED Platinum and Gold certification. The features include solar panels as well as innovation center where visitors can see Panasonic products. And the leaders of Panasonic Corporation takes into consideration in green innovation. Thus, it impacts the environment. 56 reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, 49 reduction in water use compared to previous location, and easy access to trains, buses, and bicycle routes. And the company managed to protect the environment and reduce the pollution. Next, I will proceed to the environmental factors that affect business decision making. There are three factors which are company image, potential liability or penalty, and trends and awareness. For the company image, it promotes business activities towards protecting environment that will reflect a good image of the company. But if the company does not concern on the environmental impact, it will potentially lose customers, loyalty, and tarnish image of the company. Thus, it is important for the company to attract customers by using the environmental factors in decision making. Next is the potential liability or penalty. If the company fails to comply with environmental law, it will expose the company to penalty or being sued. Lastly is the trends and awareness. The importance of knowledge in protecting environment will impact the acceptance of people or employees on the project that being invested in. It is very important for all the parties to know about the environmental effects. Next, it is on the initiatives on environmental management. There are many initiatives that could be taken by the management in order to protect the environment and reduce the pollution. There are environmental friendly products and services, preventing or reducing pollution, solid waste management, and recycling material. For the environmental friendly product and services, it addresses the concern on environmental issue by producing green products to obtain competitive advantage. Customers tend to purchase products and use services that are eco-friendly. Thus, it helps the company in boosting their company's profit. Next is preventing or reducing pollution. It practices that reduce to eliminates pollution at its source. There are some examples to protect the environment, which are using less or non-toxic chemical, efficient use of energy, and green technology use. The employees need to be trained to practice or preventing or reducing pollution. Thus, knowledge is important in order to implement it. Next is the solid waste management. It is a maximization of quantity of material diverted from the landfill, either by recycling, reuse, or reduction in quantity use. So the management need to take into consideration by using recycling method, reuse, and reduction in quantity use. It will help in reducing the environmental impacts. Lastly is this recycling material. Everyone knows what is recycling material. It is a process of converting waste material into a new material. Thus, we need to encourage recycling because it will give a huge impact to the environment. Every individual need to know the recycling method. Lastly, it is on comparisons between environmental effects and synergistic effects. For the environmental effects, it is effects to the company that need to be considered in acquiring new plant or machinery. It is important for the management to make a good decision in order to protect the environment and to reduce pollution. And it is mostly effects are negative, such as waste from the disposal. As for the synergistic effects, it is an effect arising from combination of two or more businesses to produce a greater effect, and it can be either positive or negative effects. For the positive effects are new market and efficiency and effectiveness, while for the negative effects are employee distress and increase of debt. As a conclusion, the capital expenditure decision may impact the environmental. Thus, the company needs to consider the environmental effects, not just only consider on the cost and profit of the company, in order to reduce the pollution and protect the environment. Thank you, everyone. Bye.